Hello everyone and welcome to tonight's match. Back in Div C West for Periloot versus Plugwalk. I'm Dead Latin here. Hoping to bring a solid cast tonight. Pretty early actually. Just 8 o'clock central for me. Hope you're having a good night so far. These two teams, it's third match, third week, and both of them are looking to keep some momentum going. Last week we saw Periloot be able to take the 2-1 victory over Lurk Patrol. Meanwhile, Plugwalk got their first win of the season 2-1 over Piecemeal. So both teams looking to keep their momentum going and try to continue to stay in that playoff contention. Because even though games might not seem as early with the NGS season, because you play everyone once, you never know who you might want to need a win against. When you're getting closer to down the wire, perhaps these two teams might be close, and this match might be the deciding factor. Should be interesting to see. But going to the maps now, what we saw is Periloot ended up losing the coin toss to Plugwalk, who took first pick. Ended up banning out Towers of Doom and BOE. Meanwhile, Periloot banned out Volskaya and Dragon Shower and is taking us to Cursed Hollow. Cursed Hollow, of course, favors more macro-friendly maps. Or, excuse me, macro-friendly teams, as it is more of a macro-focus map, being one of the largest maps in the game, having pretty spread out objective, 2 bosses on the board. It's honestly a personal favorite just because I prefer the macro game of HOTS, and definitely should be interesting to see the strategies coming out from these teams. Teams, though, are ready, so we will be getting right into the draft right off the bat. Now, first up for Plugwalk, they do subscribe to the ban Anubrak strategy, as it is their most banned hero. So it'd be probably a good safe first ban from them. However, if they don't, Periloot will likely pick up the mantle as well. Some potential bans that we could be looking at from Plugwalk. When we look to the match history of Periloot, as actually Lunar will be the first ban. Interesting enough. Not been played by Periloot yet. But last time Periloot played on this map against Lurk Patrol, they went with a Hanzo Muradin, Tyrande, Sonya Junkrat comp. Very annoying poke-focused comp, as we do see Anubrak being banned out from Plugwalk after Kale being banned by Periloot. So potentially seeing a similar comp this time around, or at least looking for a similar comp. However, for Plugwalk, they have yet to play on this map this season. However, it is still early. In fact, they really haven't played on a large map. The last time they played on a macro-focused map, arguably, is Sky Temple, which they actually went with a Chen. So hopefully maybe we get to see Chen this time around, as it will be the first pick Ana for Blue Mitsuka. Now, Blue Mitsuka, loving the Ana so far, has already played Ana 2 times. It has a 50% win rate, pretty solid. Overall, did play it to a win on Sky Temple, as we were talking about, another macro-focused map. Maybe going with a similar comp that's signaling. Meanwhile, now for Periloot, see what direction they're gonna go in. Gonna decide to go with, yet again, that Hanzo Junkrat poke comp. Now, with the Ana already, that slightly limits the dive capability of Plugwalk if they try to pivot into that direction this draft, because you kind of need to keep at least one tank around to help peel for an Ana, as it will be ETC, who can serve both purposes, as well as Greymane with 2Js. So both teams picking up some heroes that they definitely have experience on. ETC for Grumpy especially has been only played once so far. However, as actually looking at the stats, Plugwalk generally prefers Diablo in games, having played him 3 times. So perhaps they are looking for a more defensive comp. ETC doing very well paired up with Ana just because you don't have to kind of dedicate yourself to the dive as you do with Diablo. When you charge in, you're basically staying in for the rest of the fight. Meanwhile, ETC can play both sides pretty well. Staying back to guard and then getting re-engaged or just immediately diving in. Dahaka being banned out by Periloot to deny that away from the solo lane from Plugwalk. Meanwhile, Johanna being banned out as a main tank option from Periloot. I'm thinking we actually do end up seeing the Murden out of Periloot as they actually end up picking Stukov now. Kind of to negate potentially some of the burst damage of Greymane if 2J's ends up going Curse Bullet. And Imperious going to be the offlane pickup by Periloot. So wanting to hold that main tank pick to last, I guess, in case they want to counter. Or maybe we're hiding a weirder pick, like maybe like a Stitches that you want to hide? Who knows? Should be interesting to see, though, what Periloot decides to go in the main tank alley. Meanwhile, now for Plugwalk, they need to lock up their last assassin and solo laner here. It will end up being Thrall in the off lane as well as Li Ming. So definitely have that higher damage output when you go Thrall in order to set up for resets. Especially, should be interesting to see if Pharaohs decides to go Sundering or Earthquake. Meanwhile, it will be Swill on Murden as the main tank option for Periloot. So I think I do kind of give the edge to Periloot's poking comp just because it is Cursed Hollow. But it comes down to how can Plugwalk be able to execute inside of team fights. And Periloot has so much clear that they can really utilize it in order to put some pressure map-wise in lanes. As well as having that quick boss clear with assuming it's a scatter Hanzo. However, I don't think it's necessarily too one-sided. Definitely interested to see how the Imperious versus Thrall matchup's gonna go. As obviously Thrall has enough self-sustain against Imperious. But Imperious is kind of going to be lacking because you don't necessarily have a ton of percent health damage when you're going up against Thrall. Who's kind of more of a beefy assassin than he is a damagey tank. But here we go. Game number 1 on Cursed Hollow. For Plugwalk, it's going to be 2J's on the Greymane. Bloom Mitsuka on the Ana. Grumpy on ETC, Pharos on Thrall, and Diesel on the Li Ming. Meanwhile, for Periloot, it's going to be Toasty on the Junkrat, Argo Booster on Hanzo, Swill on the Murden, Helio on the Stukov, and Carthen on Imperious. It looks like Pharos was considering going top right away, but is going to go mid with the rest of his team in order to start off this match. It's interesting to see if either team decides to pick up the vision right away, or if they decide to save it for later when they go to peel off for their siege camp. Diesel hitting a nice orb on the Argo Booster will make him back up. As we look to the talents, it will be full scatter build here for Argo Booster. It will be Sledgehammer at level 1 for Swill, showing he's looking to maybe do a little bit more damage and diving in as opposed to being more peeling and sitting back by taking the trait upgrade. Rolling Thunder for Thrall is another notable pickup. And it will actually be Slumber Shells for Ana. Ana, especially now after seeing the grenade build nerfs, has allowed for Ana mains to be diversifying their level 1 options. Slumber Shells is definitely a viable option as opposed to the grenade option. As we do see, interestingly enough, in the top it is Pharos versus Argo Booster. As we have seen Carthen kind of rotating around more. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, we've seen Toasty mostly against the Greymane, with Grumpy now coming down in order to allow for Greymane to take that camp now. Meanwhile, Bloom versus Swill in the mid lane going to be very uneventful, as both players just looking to safe soak the XP until there some help can come in terms of clear. However, Argo Booster gonna lose out the race to 2Js in terms of capping their siege camp first. And it looks like 2Js is immediately going to rotate to the Bruiser camp with help from Diesel in order to get some mid lane pressure going. Should be interesting to see if they decide to hold that or not in order to time it with the objective. However, pretty even now in all the lanes. No one really has advantage. We actually do see Argo Booster deciding to hold that siege camp for now, as it looks like they might be looking for the invade onto 2Js and Diesel. 2J is very low, as we do see Swill now leaping in, will immediately get the kill onto 2Js. Diesel forced to immediately retreat, so a very nice invade there from Periloot will allow for them to pick up the Bruiser camp basically for free, as well as get the kill. Toasty now against Grumpy, able to do a lot of damage from afar. Grumpy not really able to slide in order to get the damage on Toasty, and so Toasty will be able to clear out this bot siege camp without it really doing any siege damage. In fact, Grumpy going to take a tower shot. It's a couple now as he slides in, looking to be a little bit more aggressive. He's going to have to be careful as he's already used his tap and going to be forced to be healed up here before the next fight. Swill going to be taking the vision here, being aggressively positioned. Bloom able to get the nice sleep dart to allow Diesel to get some free damage onto the main tank. But now team's starting to rotate in. The solo laners will not be present for this fight, deciding to just stay and soak up, as we do see Grumpy take a lot of damage from ending up getting trapped, and that will allow Helio to get the cap for free. So great start so far for Periloot, getting some lane pressure going, as Carthan now going to be able to push up as he stayed here in order to help babysit the siege giants so that they can get some damage in. Meanwhile, now we do see Periloot moving on to their own Bruiser camp. Should be interesting to see how much push they'll be able to get with that camp, considering they already were able to get some damage with Plugwalk's own Bruiser camp. However, Helio is struggling a little bit to be soaking against 2Js and the Li Ming. However, we do see 2Js rotating down here in order to potentially put some pressure in the spot lane. And so Swill will be rotating down to make sure we don't see Plugwalk committing. Plugwalk, though, will be now rotating into the mid lane to deal with the Bruiser camp. And so, because Swill did end up rotating down, this will force Periloot to not necessarily push up as much, but now here comes Swill jumping into the fight. Looking to maybe get a hammer, get some stacks going. Will not be able to quite find it yet, however. We do still see the Siege Giant still up in the top lane, and now will end up going down, but still was able to get a tower down. That's pretty good for an early Siege Giant, as now we see Periloot trying to push in the mid lane as well. Grumpy was able to step up in order to get the regen globe. However, they are going to be pretty zoned out now for this tribute fight as well. A nice sledgehammer there by Swill, forcing Grumpy to back up. However, they weren't really trying to get the cap quite yet, the quick cap on the side of Periloot. Barros is a little bit zoned out, and Grumpy's taking a lot of poke damage here from Argo Booster and Toasty. It will end up going down there to Swill, and so that's just going to force Plugwalk to have to back up. Maybe they might get some poke in there. Not even going to even try that, as they're immediately going to break off in order to try to get some soak back up, as Periloot's on track to get 10 before the next tribute does come up. And so Plugwalk definitely has some ground to make up, being about 2/3 of a level behind. And because they did force Thrall to back, they are going to be able to finish off this wall and threaten the fort here in the top lane. So you can see the amount of clear Argo Booster is able to do on the Hanzo, especially when he gets that level 4 talent to allow for his Qs to do area of effect damage on the minions. But now we see the response from Plugwalk in order to rotate back up. As in the bot lane, Diesel was able to get the Siege Giants right as the tribute warning does come up. So that will be a force that Periloot's going to have to consider here. But I think they're just going to go ahead, finish off 10 real quick, and then fight for the tribute. Plugwalk just trying to set up positionally, but we'll have to be very careful and kind of look for a pick as they'll be fighting down 10s. Here come the ultimates coming in, as we see Grumpy actually going in to look for Carthan. A huge arrow ends up coming in from Argo Booster, catching 3 members of Plugwalk. Grumpy going very low. The tire ends up hitting Bloom and 2Js, as we do see ETC end up going down. Now 2Js in a lot of trouble. Will end up going down as the chase is on from Periloot. Again, they got their ults in, and that was enough in order to turn around the fight. Plugwalk was looking for the picks there, but not able to come in quite in time. And so now Periloot up to members will be looking to finally confirm this top 4 and potentially look for even more in this top lane. However, they are just going to be splitting up to make sure they get as much soak and siege damage as possible. Top 4 will end up going down as Grumpy now coming back from the Hall of Storms. Still very slow there. It ends up getting slept there from Blown Metsuka. As we see the dive going in, Swill, forced to pop Avatar, will be able to get out. A fantastic job there from Swill and Helio to get the heal in time to allow Swill to leave. As we saw Plugwalk almost able to get the turnaround pick. Grumpy now rotating down, looking for Toasty, who will be able to get out in time. Before Grumpy able to get the slide in, now Argo Booster looking to finish off this bot in order to get about an average return, or at least what you expect for a curse. Getting just over 2 forts. Mid fort and bot fort, or excuse me, now just mid fort will still need to be confirmed. But still overall very strong early game from Periloot. Definitely utilizing their poke macro focus comp to its full advantage. As now they group up in the mid lane. Toasty just going to be firing out those grenades that's going to be really hard to stop in order for them to be able to confirm this mid fort as well and get yet another ticking time XP advantage going in every single lane. Argo Booster now going to be finishing off the siege camp for Periloot, while both teams now rotate in order to take their own bruiser camps. However, 13 is now on the horizon for Periloot. So, Plugwalk in a situation to where they kind of need to be looking for a fight. They will be looking for their boss at the same time Periloot is. And so this will help them at least get some pressure in the top lane, maybe be able to get a fort there in order to even out the occasional catapult and XP advantage being a fort up gives you. However, Periloot's gonna decide to just push with this boss in order to potentially look to get some damage onto Plugwalk's keep. As 13s do now come in for Periloot. That was the base quest now being completed there from Swell. Kind of a weird notification coming in now. As we do see, it was the Sleep Dart build I did coming from Bloom. Kind of interesting that it went the full Sleep Dart build. Probably going to see that now more as Anna's get comfortable with using that over the grenade build. As we do see the siege being started up here by Periloot, able to get the wall now down as a nice grenade there boosts back Grumpy, but will be able to come through. A Hanzo arrow ends up catching 3 members. Diesel going very low as Grumpy slides in. A nice interrupt though by Swill will not allow for the dance animation to go off. However, boss able to get focused down there before the keep ends up going down, and so Periloot's going to be forced to back up onto the tribute that is in the spot lane. So another advantage, but in this top lane, we did see the boss able to get that top fort down. A little bit of a silver lining here for Plugwalk. It looks like they want to go in using Anna's ult as a stall tactic. As Toasty getting dove on by 2Js and Pharaohs, as we see the Earthquake getting popped, but Swill going in, looking to confirm the kill on the Pharaohs, will be able to get that. Carthen, though, in a lot of trouble, going deep to find Diesel. The nice lurking arm will be, flailing swipe will be able to knock back and save Carthen for now and force Plugwalk to back up. But a bit more of a chaotic fight there as Plugwalk trying to use Eye of Horse to not make sure they lost that objective for free. However, they end up not able to confirm the kill onto Toasty, end up losing Thrall as well. And so it will be yet another trip going over to Periloot. And so now Periloot's going to be looking to yet again siege up on the spot keep. Pharaohs is already back though, so we'll be an even 5v5 as Grumpy going in looking for the kill onto Argo Booster. The Riptire coming out will be able to find Toasty. Or excuse me, ETC. Now Pharaohs in a lot of trouble. Will still go down there to Carthen. Carthen looking for more. Going on to 2Js, but taking the keep damage. Will be forced to back up for now. They're waiting for the minion wave before they go in. Now 2Js in trouble. Stunned by Swill. Finished off by Argo Booster. And so now up 3 members. They should be able to siege up here and finish off this bot keep. There's pretty scared though to try to siege up without the minion wave, even though they are up 3 members. Diesel doing a good amount of hero damage from afar as well. And so Periloot just going to back up yet again. You do see Toasty now retreating as 16s do come through for Periloot. Glass Cannon ended up being taken there on the Li Ming. Kind of interesting, but I don't think she has any deaths yet. No deaths, so definitely able. If you're get to Glass Cannon and you are at 0 or 1 deaths, it's probably worth it to take that in order to get that damage boost. However, now a level and a half behind from Plug Walk means that they're just going to have to be dancing around the map trying to get soak where they can as they try to catch up to Periloot. They don't really have that much time though, as the next tribute's going to be another curse point for Periloot. At least if they're able to get the next tribute, that gives them curse. As now we do see Periloot with their 16 advantage looking to get the invade onto the Bruiser camp. That Plug Walk is taking another Hanzo air, ends up going on to Grumpy as we see 2J's taking a lot of damage. I have Horse though coming in, gonna do a lot of damage here to Carthen and Swill. Flailing Swipe gonna force Pharaoh's back, but Carthen still will end up going down. Now 2J's going in, gets the kill onto Argo Booster as well as it's full retreat here for Periloot. But we get another engage here from 2J's looking to get the kill potentially on the Helio. The slide from Grumpy will allow for 2J's to go in and get the kill there onto Helio as well. So that might be the turning point that Plug Walk needed, as that will allow for them to pick up their first tribute of the game and be able to now get some push going in the mid lane, as well as pick up their 16s. So great overall team fight there from Plug Walk, and potentially may allow for them to start turning around this game. Looking for the boop over. Toasty does find it onto Grumpy, but he does have slide over terrain, so we'll be able to escape. As 2J's now sieging up in Worgen form, looking to go deep, still having to wait for Helio in 10 more seconds. However, it looks like Plug Walk going to be backing up as their boss has now just come off cooldown. Pharaoh's going to start it while the rest of the team does now rotate in. However, Periloot is not looking to give up this boss for free. They are going to be rotating in despite not going to be having Helio here for this fight. Grumpy now going to be forced to back up in order to try to zone out. In comes the arrow from Argo Booster, but just finding Grumpy as the boss now will end up going down. 2J's will be able to get the cap off. The ETC, or the Tire, not able to really find much, as Grumpy able to successfully find the mosh pit. The damage not quite coming through. It really was just I have Horse dealing damage, so Grumpy will end up going down. Carthen looking deep, looking for the kill on a Diesel or Pharaoh's, but a nice sleep dart there from Bloom will allow for Plug Walk to disengage before too much more damage is done. The question is, how do you play this if you're Periloot? It looks like they're just going to give up the tribute, as it won't give curse quite yet to Plug Walk. Instead, dedicate their resources to defending against this boss to make sure it doesn't take a keep. But still a crucial team fight when they're for a Periloot, as if they lost that team fight, which was very risky. They had to wait for Helio to rotate in. But that would have made it to where they probably would have lost that top keep, as well as that tribute as well. Obviously the keep a lot more important, but still could have been a compounding issue that might have put the game a little bit out of their reach. But now the game kind of equal now. Both teams going to be dancing around Periloot's boss, as not all members of Periloot here quite yet. Toasty actually behind the team. However, it's Will who end up going deep. A nice Hanzo arrow ends up catching 3. Diesel going very low. The Tire gonna find it. Toasty able to get the first kill of the fight, kind of taking advantage of all the chaos. And so Plug Walk gonna be forced to back up now, defend in the mid lane. Meanwhile, Periloot gonna be able to get a curse here. If they really want to play it risky, they could decide to instead try to take the boss out, hold the trib, and push with the boss potentially for the win. But instead of going to play it safer and just ensure that they do get this tribute in order to get the curse. It looks like they're positioning in order to move into this mid lane, as bot keep is already really low. That looks like now they will be going down to bot lane in order to ensure that they can confirm this keep. Pretty wise idea, as 20 is also right on the horizon. probably maybe this minion wave just a little bit more, as 20's now online for Periloot. Will be able to confirm the keep as Carthen goes in on a Grumpy, but not able to find the follow-up damage quite yet. Pluglock playing very conservatively. Don't want to give up too many picks that will allow Periloot to end the game. Grumpy actually ends up going deep onto Toasty, looking to find the slide. Not able to quite find it, and Swill not going to be able to punish Grumpy's aggressive slide. Big arrow in from Argo Booster onto Bloom. Will Bloom be able to escape? Will be able to get out? Nice peel there from Grumpy, as now Toasty coming in with the Riptire. Looking to maybe get the kill. Instead, just going to find it onto Pharos instead of looking deep for Bloom. However, Periloot now out of time on their curse. Spent a lot of time kind of just dancing around. All they were really able to get was dancing and confirming that bot keep. Now they're going to look for their boss camp. Still up 20. Pluglock not really in the position to be able to contest this boss. Instead, they're just going to be taking their own bruiser camp to at least put some pressure on Periloot there. As the boss is now picked up, heading straight to Pluglock's core. Will Periloot decide to push with this in order to force a potential core situation, or will they look to mid or top in order to use it to take a keep instead? Diesel does scout out the taking of the siege camp to help with the bot boss, as it looks like Periloot is positioning to go with the bot camp. Argo Booster taking a lot of damage from Diesel's poke from afar, as Rolling Thunder is completed there by Pharos. All the boss is moving up now. Both teams kind of positioned around the boss, as Grumpy looking to potentially get a slide in for the dance. Toasty taking a lot of damage, is able to get out thanks to the flailing swipe from Helio. 2J's chasing the kill onto Toasty, ends up going in deep. Looks like he will be able to eventually get that kill, as Carthen now trying to fight off Pharos. It's a very disjointed fight, but the core is going down while Pluglock was looking for the picks, and Periloot will be able to win game number 1. So overall, some great macro play there from Periloot. Allowed for them to take an early advantage. Pluglock almost able to bring it back there a little bit in the mid game, but Periloot able to stabilize and take game number 1. Now as we look over to the stats, crucially kills 10-4 in favor there of Periloot. Top damage dealer of the day was Toasty on that Junkrat, toasting grenades and getting some crucial Riptires in there to just deal a ton of damage to open up the fights for Periloot. Meanwhile, Diesel and the Li Ming from afar able to do 44,000, especially harassing Argo Booster a lot. Meanwhile, Helio barely out healing Bloom Mitsuka on the Ana. And then top tanker was Grumpy on the ETC. 73,000 to Swill's 57,000. And then 2J's barely out soaking Toasty, both just over 12,000. Now looking to the talents, you see it was that scatter build coming out from Argo Booster. Meanwhile, other things to note, more of a grenade build coming out from Toasty. Diesel did go with the orb build to harass from afar. And then we did see Bloom Mitsuka with the Sleep Dart build. But overall, great game there taken by Periloot. It looks like Pluglock will be taking first pick here yet again. And so it will be up to Periloot to take us to the next map. I mean, if I'm Periloot right now, I take one that lends to our advantage in the... yes, Falcomer, Periloot did win the map, unless I got the team swept up. Yep, Periloot did win. Had me scared for a second that I had mixed up the teams, as it will be Braxis, but lend to a map that goes to their strengths of, as they played a very strong macro game. However, Braxis, a little bit of a switch up, not because it isn't a macro map, but just because it's new to the pool in NGS, so teams might not necessarily be expecting it or have any strategies concerning Braxis. Also, you can really get some weird strategies on Braxis because you can essentially stall the objective forever. If your Soul Laner is able to hold that top beacon, especially if you have like a Rexar where you can just throw Misha on the point and make the other Soul Laner kill Misha, which is a very tough task to do. And so, should be interesting to see if we get any spicy strategies coming out from Periloot as they did choose the map. Definitely something to look out for, though, are the Assassin players. Arc Booster able to do a lot of damage on the Hanzo. But I should be interested to see as the Soul Laners will now get their chance to sign on this map versus on Cursed Hollow, where Soul Laners not really having as much of a chance to shine, just because generally you have maybe 2 solos as well as a roamer going around just trying to take the camps. And so the Soul Laner match doesn't matter as much on Cursed Hollow instead of versus Braxis Holdout, where a good solo laner could single-handedly win the game for a team. However, looking to the history of Periloot, they have played Braxis once so far in this NGS season, deciding to go with a very interesting comp, pairing up that Gul'dan Ariel, an old school pairing, to go with the Imperius, as we saw last map, as well as with a Stitches and Hanzo. So perhaps we will see something similar. If they're able to get maybe the Gul'dan, they still go the Ariel route. But honestly, I think they've been the only team to play Stitches that I've seen so far. So hopefully we do get to see Stitches yet again, as it's not like he's really a horrible main tank. It's just he gets overshadowed by some more powerful like ETC, Diablo, Anub'arak, which are just a lot more powerful compared to Stitches, especially after the changes, I should say, to Stitches that kind of nerfed his hook range, taking away his most valuable part of his kit in order to distribute the power elsewhere. But here we go right into the draft. Now it's time for the portion where I forget what the bans the teams did last time. As generally teams try to keep it the same, I believe it was Periloot who banned Anub'arak, as Plugwalk banned Kale ? I should just probably end up writing down the bans, honestly, and not rely on my memory so much. But first ban from Plugwalk this time around, as it will be the Lunara, that is right. Jogging my memory, being first banned yet again. Kale being banned out by Periloot. Perhaps looking for that Gul'dan as their mage option. And definitely I think they're going to be looking to get an Argo Booster on the Hanzo early if they're able to get it in the second pick slot. Well, for Plugwalk, their ban up next. They're going to decide, hold a little bit, eventually decide to end up banning the Anub'arak again. Perhaps they want Bloom Mitsuka again on Ana, so you want to get rid of that Anub'arak dive as an option. Meanwhile, Diablo going to be banned out by Periloot as well to take away the 2 main dive options, as Bloom Mitsuka will be first picking the Ana yet again. Now for Periloot, will they decide to lock in both assassins yet again in this first slot? I think they at least maybe get the Hanzo if they want it. And they're instead going to actually lock in the Toasty Gul'dan and the Swill Johanna instead of the Stitches. Playing a much more defensive comp. As the more poke backliney comp from last game really worked out for them pretty well. So deciding to go with the same type of comp it looked like from the first two picks. However, for Plugwalk, same situation as last time. You take two backliners, and so they're going to be going ATC Jaina this time in order to try to put some pressure or provide some options for pressure as well as defense for the Ana. Now Periloot, gonna be third banning call this time. I don't want to say Cho, but I guess they were scared that's the only thing not coming through. The only problem though is that Plugwalk definitely did not have really a Cho'Gall comp, as they didn't pick their solo laner yet. Unless you were gonna have ETC in the solo lane, which is an option. He's not the worst solo lane option. But they've already shown to use EDC more as a main tank as well as put Grumpy on him. So probably weren't going to pick up Cho'Gall. That was more of a safety ban, I guess. Meanwhile, Chen going to be banned out by Plugwalk. Thanks to Periloot's history of playing Chen in offlane. So likely going to be going up Periloot. Meanwhile, Helio will be on the Ario for the Gul'dan Ario combo pair. Question of... Actually, it's going to be an Argo Booster Zeratul this time around in order to have a more aggressive option to go onto Jaina and Ana. So Grumpy maybe going to have to be a little bit more defensive this time around. Meanwhile, it's going to be interesting to see how Swill manages the engaging versus staying back and defending of the backline. Cassia, Rex are going to be the last two picks here for Plugwalk. I'm surprised Rexar came down to the last pick, as he is such a strong pick on Braxa specifically. And so we're going to see that Plugwalk's likely going to have a stronghold of that top point. Meanwhile, Imperius yet again going to be the pick coming from Periloot. So I think I actually kind of prefer the comp coming out here from Plugwalk. Just because the Diesel Rexar makes it to where you force Periloot to hold the bot point the entire time, and if you slip up at all, it's going to be taking up some pressure. The only thing that makes me pause is that Argo Booster and Zeratul is definitely going to be able to make some rotations to put some pressure onto Diesel in that off lane. Looks like we got some Plugwalk fans showing up in chat this time around as we start getting into our match. But anything, as I was saying, but basically with Plugwalk's comp, even though I think they have the better format on the side of Periloot, again, as I was saying, if you just slip up in one fight, Plugwalk's going to be able to take up some progress on the objective, and so that allows for Plugwalk to kind of more sit back in this game. Here we go, though, for game number 2. It's going to be Plugwalk looking to even back up the series with Diesel this time on the Rexar, 2J's on the Jaina, Blue Mitsuka on the Ana, Pharos on the Cassia, and Grumpy on the ETC. Meanwhile, for Periloot, it's going to be Carthan on the Imperius, Helio on the Ariel, Toasty on Gul'dan, Swill on Johanna, and Argo Booster on the Zeratul. Teams, as usual, on this map going to split up immediately. Right off the bat, it will be full cleave build for Argo Booster, based off the first one, or at least based off his first talent picked up. Again, we will see Blue Mitsuka with the Sleep Dart build. Definitely understandable when you're going up against Zeratul, as we'll take a lot of damage from the Pharos poke. Argo Booster just harassing Grumpy as Grumpy tries to take some vision. in the fights. Grumpy actually going to slide in this time, looking for the damage on the Argo Booster, but not able to quite find it. It actually will be Q build from Pharaohs, surprisingly enough. Kind of less common pickup. Other than that, though, pretty common picks from what I could see. Argo Booster now going on to Pharaohs. A nice stun there from Helio, but not able to quite find the damage yet, as Argo Booster does not have the power levels until later on in the game to be able to burst down the Assassins maybe as much as he likes, especially with Toasty also needing to get his corruption stacks too in order to get a huge boost in power. Helio actually stepping up for the whip, but not able to quite find it, as now we do see Argo Booster rotating up in order to potentially look for the pick onto Diesel, who's going to be sending Misha now onto the beacon as soon as it activates. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, we do see the teams continuing to just poke out as Argo Booster now rotates back down. Grumpy going to be challenging Argo Booster on the point. Doesn't really have the support, though, from the rest of his team quite yet, so Grumpy just going to be taking quite a beating as Bloom, Mitsuka, and 2Js went down in order to get the regen globe for Jaina. And so the bot point going to be conceded early. Meanwhile, in the top, Argo Booster is rotating up as Misha's taking a lot of damage just from Karthan. Argo Booster now coming up in order to rotate onto Rexar, but out of mana right now, so not able to really be aggressive quite yet. And this allows for Plugwalk to just step onto this bot point. Again, when you do go aggressive and get the rotations up onto Rexar, this just gives the green light to Plugwalk that they have the advantage in the bot lane, and so they can step up and now get the bot point. And then once you rotate back down Argo Booster, then Rexar is able to take back the top point, and the dance and Carnival continues yet again. Argo Booster now going to be rotating back down to the bot lane, looking to potentially get a pick here, as we did see Jaina being, or 2J's being forced to back up in order to get the mana back up. Argo Booster stepping on the point. Toasty doing a lot of damage there from Pharaohs. Argo Booster not quite finding the engage, though, in order to help potentially confirm the kill. Grumpy now going to be able to step back onto the point, taking a lot of abuse from Swill and Argo Booster. But Argo Booster out of mana, not really able to do too much. Grumpy gets a huge slide there, able to get the kill onto Gul'dan. Now looking for the kill there onto Swill, will be able to find it. Response kill did go out onto Cassia, but Argo Booster not going to be able to chase to confirm the kill onto Grumpy, giving a 2-to-1 trade in favor of Plugwalk, and going to allow for them to eventually start taking up progress on the beacon. Great start there from Plugwalk, as Argo Booster with his rotations just eventually running out of resources, and now might be running out of health. Nice slide there from Grumpy. Stunned him out, but not able to quite find the damage to kill him outright. Now we see Pharaohs rotating back in as Argo Booster rotated to the top lane. Advantage for Plugwalk here in the bot lane. Meanwhile, we see Argo Booster just looking to get the kill on Amisha as Diesel backed all the way up to make sure he didn't go down. But Plugwalk's just going to be able to hold this bot point. They do have about a half-level lead at the moment. Not likely to build any more, though, unless they're able to find yet another pick or teamfight victory. You know, we do see Periloot now moving on to their siege camp in order to provide some lane pressure here in the bot lane. We'll be able to pick it up. Grumpy getting the scout out, just not in time. However, Plugwalk was able to take down the a tower in the meantime. Grumpy not able to slide out over the terrain this time around, taking a lot of damage from Argo Booster and Toasty now, but will be able to get out thanks to the heals from Bloom, Mitsuka. Now we see Grumpy yet again taking a lot of the abuse, but top point is able to be picked up by Plugwalk, so they're just going to retreat in the bot lane, looking to potentially catch out Argo Booster, but not able to quite find it. But we're able to clear out the siege camp at least before any real damage done to their towers. The very highly contested bot region globe was able to be picked up by there from Periloot. Meanwhile, Plugwalk does rotate around now onto the point, as you see Argo Booster rotating up to help out Imperius in the top lane, try to catch that beacon back. But yet again, Diesel just going to play it safe, allow for him to lose the point, make sure that he doesn't lose his own life. As you see Grumpy sliding in, nice whip there from Helio, forces Grumpy back though, as they don't really have the damage in order to kill Swill at this moment. Now Argo Booster rotating back in, looking to go aggressive. Gets the damage there onto Pharaohs. A nice slide though onto Argo Booster. Has to be careful, will be able to escape in time. As 2Js and Pharaohs take a lot of damage, now it's Helio able to get the heal off cooldown to not fall too far down. Argo Booster will end up going down there. Not quite getting the tap health in time. As Pharaoh's looking to do some more damage. But Periloot going to be able to back up for now. Looking right now, Echo Corruption stacks, they are up to 33 for Toasty. Very good sign. About to get a huge boost in damage maybe in order to force Grumpy to back up a bit more. Meanwhile, other stacking quests, you see kind of the damage build coming out from Helio. Allows for you to do a lot more damage, which of course turns into more of your own heals as an Ariel. As now Grumpy being forced off the point with Argo Booster rotating back in. Now Pharaoh's going to be moving on to the Bruiser camp with 2Js and Blue Mitsuka. However, Periloot has spotted this out, and so they're going to be rotating in. But meanwhile, ETC had to back for mana, I believe. And so, Plugwalk, though, going to make the wise decision and go ahead and back out for now. But Grumpy is back, so they're going to move on in. Argo Booster going to be forced to stand on point with Grumpy, and so Grumpy will be able to get the cap on the Bruiser camp, looking for more with Argo Booster already pretty low. However, not fast enough in order to get a kill to add to the Bruiser camp. So pretty even as of now. Grumpy going to be able to cap the bot beacon as well, while Plugwalk moves on to the top beacon, which Carthage is going to brawl out against Misha to make sure that they don't get some taking progress on that point. Argo Booster going deep, looking for Blue Mitsuka. Going to be able to teleport out there with, I believe, Wormhole, yes. However, he's going to have to be careful as Grumpy has been able to get him in the stuns now that he doesn't immediately go back. Argo Booster ends up nice sleep there from Blue Mitsuka. Will allow for him to go down along with the stun from Grumpy. And so another advantage here from Plugwalk as the gate is now completely down in the bot lane, and they're going to get some progress taking on the beacon yet again. You will see Carthan going to give up some more of his life just to keep the point contested, but he can't do this forever against Misha as ults do now come in for Plugwalk. They're looking to take a fight now with their advantage. As we do see the ball lightning going in onto Helio, will end up going down along with the dance with Grumpy gonna further lock up Johanna, who will end up going down. Maybe a little bit of overkill there with the Ring of Frost, but that will allow for them to get a lot of push here in the bot lane, or maybe look for boss. Let's see what Plugwalk decides to do with their advantage. Instead of gonna look for the siege camp here, as well as have Grumpy gonna go ahead and rotate up in order to make sure that they get the beacon progress ticking up. Now the fight going to be coming back in the top lane. Argo Booster and Grumpy are both present here as Carthan going to be forced to back out yet again. Grumpy going to try to make sure that doesn't happen. Look actually for the kill on the Imperius to make sure he can't continue to contest this top objective. Now Bloom also rotating up along with Pharaohs. Now Plugwalk wants a brawl here as their Zerg does now spawn. It will just be 2Js to defend against the Zerg of Periloot. You know, a huge push here for Plugwalk. Ults will now be online for Periloot here as they start their defense. Toasty, does now have Echoed Corruption done, so that will really help with trying to kill off the Zerg. As it looks like Plugwalk only going to be able to get down the gate in the top lane. Misha taking a lot of abuse there from Argo Booster and Toasty, as they actually end up committing the Blessed Shield looking for the Misha kill and won't be able to find it. And so Plugwalk going to be pretty satisfied, honestly, with that fight. Sure, you didn't get the fort down, but you do force out a valuable cooldown from Periloot that they won't have if you decide to force a fight. They still are waiting for Mosh Pit to be up, though, in 17 more seconds likely until they look for another fight. As it looks like it's going to be an exchange of lanes. As you see, Imperius and Rex are now in the bot lane, while the four-mans come into the top lane. Grumpy quite not able to quite find the slide onto Argo Booster. That might have been yet another pick onto him. As now 2Js is back in order to help with more of the damage dealing abilities. Plugwalk almost have 13 here, so they don't really need to fight yet. As we see the Void Prison coming out on an Argo Booster, and Swill, Mosh not able to quite come out. As the Fear ends up hitting 2 members. Argo Booster, a nice Crystal, the Aegis from Helio able to keep him up. As the heals from Bloom end up keeping Grumpy up, and it's just a total trade of cooldowns. As no one ends up falling in that team fight. Overall though, favoring Plug Walk as Mosh Pit did not go on full cooldown. So they will have that in ring versus just Angelic Armaments for Periloot. In fact, they might be looking for the invade here. Grumpy gonna be forcing Periloot back 4 now with their ultimate advantage. Gonna just be able to take the Bruiser camp without much issue. Now they're looking for Argo Booster here. They get the damage from Pharaohs, but not gonna be able to chase any further. Meanwhile, Plugwalk now rotating back around in order to start their siege on the fort with their siege camp. Looks like they're gonna not necessarily want to push the issue quite yet here, as their 13s are now online for Plugwalk. There'll be Icy Veins for Jaina. Other than that though, pretty standard ults. Purifying Darts looking to potentially, I guess, cleanse the slows from Argo Booster, as opposed to the stuns from Imperius. But honestly, it's just honest choice based off of the enemy team's team comp, which one you end up choosing. Grumpy now going in, looking for a kill, as Argo Booster is in the top lane. Maybe a little bit of a team fight advantage here for Plugwalk, as 13 is about to be online for Periloot. Instead, they're just going to make sure that they clear out the siege camp of Periloot first before looking for any potential engages. You know, Grumpy's probably looking for a Mosh right now if he can see a golden opportunity to do so. As we do see the top beacon being taken as Argo Booster rotating in. This is going to be a 5v4. Nice Void Prison ends up hitting 2. Grumpy, kind of isolated, is able to get out. However, not able to quite hit the Horrify combo. Blessed Shield ends up going out onto Blue Mitsuka. Can they confirm the damage? Will be able to with Angelic Armaments. Now Grumpy very low as Ferris looking to go in onto Carthan. Won't be able to find the damage. It looks like it will just be a 1-for-none trade in favor of Periloot there. However, Beacon will continue to be held by Plugwalk if Rexar in that top lane. But still a nice rotation in there from Argo Booster. Gave them a good 5v4 opportunity. Now Grumpy in a little bit of trouble there. Ends up getting stabbed. Will he be able to escape? It looks like he barely will be able to. Meanwhile, Toasty took a lot of damage there from Pharaohs now that the quest is complete on the queue. However, Argo Booster did rotate back up in the top lane. I guess they figure that's the better matchup against Rexar versus Carthan on Imperius. Stab ends up going on to Pharaohs instead of Grumpy. However, 2J's is isolated below from Swill. Will be able to back out successfully. Won't back out completely though, as Argo Booster yet again rotating in, looking for the dance, not able to find anyone. Has a lot of damage going out from Toasty onto 2J's and Pharaohs. 2J's will end up going down. Pharaohs with the nano boost, not quite going down yet, but still yet another pick coming up from Periloot based off of an Argo Booster flank. I guess that's why they send Zeratul up in the top lane, so that they can get those quick rotations in order to give them an advantage in team fights, to allow for them to continue to hold that bot point and start to close the gap in terms of XP. Now Argo Booster rotating back up here. They might be able to find the kill here finally onto Diesel's Rexar. He's gonna take a lot of damage here. Argo Booster going deep for the kill, will be able to find it. The tower will not be able to find the return kill onto him. But in the meantime, Plugwalk was able to take back the spot beacon, so it won't be too much of a problem for them. Now Carthan will end up going down. Nice Sleep Dart combo with Grumpy and Pharaohs. Able to get a pick of Plugwalk's own, as 16's now picked up by Plugwalk. Looking to see if they can get any lane advantage here, as a nice landing from Grumpy. Again, looking to lock up Argo Booster along with the Ball Lightning, but again, Ring of Frost does not hit anyone from 2J's, and so Periloot's going to be able to back up without any deaths. Well, will be taken down as the whip locks up Grumpy. They've just been CC comboing Argo Booster though to ensure that he can't do too much damage inside of team fights. Meanwhile, Periloot about to get their 16s online, as they do have a 4v4 fight now. So it looks like they're looking to take one. Mosh Pit's still on cooldown as well as Ring of Frost, so ult advantage is in effect for Periloot. But however, the slide goes onto Argo Booster in order to catch him out. Blast Shield not quite in time in order to appeal for him. Nice Horrify, ends up hitting 2. But Grumpy not able to be focused down, as Pharos ended up getting Horrified away from the fight. And so Plugwalk going to start taking up some beacon progress. Meanwhile, Diesel going to be really putting a lot of siege damage onto this top 4. Might be able to take it down completely. And Plugwalk also looks for this bot siege camp. Garthen's going to rotate back down in order to make sure it's a 4v4. Toasty taking a lot of damage there from the ball lightning. But however, it will actually be Cassia who ends up going down. So that will force Plugwalk to back up for now. Nice Crystal Aegis there, ended up saving Toasty's life and allowing for Periloot to get a pick on the engage. Now it will be Argo Booster looking to even up the top beacon for now, going against Diesel there. As a brawl yet again in the bot lane. Number advantage though for Periloot will force Plugwalk to kind of back up for now. Grumpy pushing aggressively, or positioning aggressively near the point. As we see the Ring of Frost yet again missing, as now Bloom taking a lot of damage will end up going down. Mosh Pit ends up locking up 2, but already the backline down, and Grumpy will also follow. Just a bad fight to be taken there by Plugwalk when they're down a member. And so that will allow for Plugwalk now to also rotate up Swill to be able to eventually, I'm assuming, take this beacon and start for the first time this game getting some progress on the objective. Argo Booster looking for more, getting siege damage and seeing if he can maybe get an opportunity to get onto Diesel's Rexar. Not able to quite find it though. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, Toasty just poking on Pharos with that Echoed Corruption damage. Pharos not able to really step up enough to clear the wave, so a lot of siege damage going to be coming through in the bot lane as well. Along with Carthen, who's been thrust into a main tank role for now, with Swill now rotating down from the top lane. As the bot fort will be picked up here by Periloot. And the beacon as well, finishing its progress. 82% to 100% though. Gonna be a slight circuit advantage for Periloot. But both teams gonna be splitting 3-2. No, it looks like Periloot's gonna be completely dedicating themselves to this top lane. Poor Misha has been left behind by his master. Will end up going down, as this fort going to be absolutely shredded by the Zerg. But it looks like Plugwalk is content to just kind of race it out for now, having just 2Js and Diesel back to defend as they wait for Rexar to spawn back, versus just Argo Booster going to be trying to defend against Plugwalk's push. The Ring of Frost ends up hitting 1 this time, but they won't be, 2J's not able to push up in order to put the damage out onto Helio. Meanwhile, Diesel going to be taking a lot of damage as Rexar, Misha just now respawning. Ends up popping the ult, but not able to find really that much, as it looks like this keep is going to be able to be found. In fact, they're looking for the Blasted Shield, and Fear onto 2J's, not able to quite find it. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, they are able to find the keep, looking for the pick onto Argo Booster. Won't find it there as well. And so Periloot going to content with backing for now and maybe looking for a fight here, 5v4 on Periloot. Grumpy does have the Mosh Pit. Instead, though, just going to get the slide onto Helio, a little bit caught out there behind the rest of his team. Forced to use Crystal Aegis, as we do see 2J's getting the Nano Boost, looking to get some more damage onto Swill. Ends up getting rooted there. But instead, the focus going out onto Carthen, who also will end up going down. So thanks to Periloot, nice heads-up play there. And Plugwalk not backing up in time. That will provide Periloot with an advantage for the next about 30 seconds. And so they will be able to move on the boss, as well as get their 20s here. A Bolt of the Storm for ETC, Ring of Frost upgrade for Jaina. It's going to be Frenzy of Kalimdar, actually, for Rexar. Which one am I missing? Nano Boost upgrade for Ana, and Ball Lightning upgrade for Cassia. Meanwhile, for Periloot, 20's also online. In fact, Swill looking for the bruiser camp. However, a little bit cut out here by Plug Walk. A nice Ring of Frost ends up hitting 2 members. Blessed our shield trying to find it. Will end up finding the damage. Argo Booster going deep. Ends up finding 2 kills. Can they find the kill on the 2Js? As Grumpy ends up finding 2 kills of his own. Trying to zone out to make sure 2Js can try to get away here. But Argo Booster going to be able to find the damage on the Grumpy and force him to back. The risky back ends up paying off for 2Js as they limit the damage to just a 2-for-2 trade for Plug Walk. But they won't be able to push with the boss. But Periloot's comp is online. Now that's, well, I shouldn't say now that 20 is achieved. 116 was achieved. But in even fights, you will see Argo Booster going deep. And so far with the stats, the hero damage leader actually has been Cassia with the 83,000. Meanwhile, the Gul'dan, I believe, with Toasty, leading the way with 99,000. But definitely be looking for Argo Boosters, their total numbers, to be shooting up right now, as both teams do take their camps. It also will force Grumpy to be more defensive in team fights to make sure Argo Booster doesn't just go ham like he did in that last fight. But now, teams getting ready to play Ring Around the Rosie. Going to start off with the siege camp, or with the camps as they clear each other's bruiser camps. Now the team, it looks like Plug Walk going to stay here to clear at least one other lane. Are they going to look for the keep? Periloot going to be backing up as Argo Booster looking to potentially get the engage here. Both teams do almost have all their ults. Grumpy actually going all the way back, looking to zone out Argo Booster. But there's not really any damage as the Void Person now comes out. Do they have the Horrify to follow up with it? The stab does not hit from Carthen. As in comes the Ring of Frost, ends up hitting Carthen. As 2Js gets the nano boost. Misha does end up going down. A lot of heals coming from Bloom. As the Age is going to keep Argo Booster alive. Bloom ends up going down, as well as ETC. Feign Death now coming out in order to keep Diesel alive, as Argo Booster will now end up going down. But the chase is on from Swill, and Carthen will not continue further as mounts success from Pharos and Diesel, but still a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Periloot. They're going to be able to get some progress going on this beacon right now. Helio's very low. Diesel might be able to potentially look to go on the aggressive. Now it gets cut out from Swill, who's able to defend his healer for now. But honestly, Plug Walk could potentially take a fight right here at 3v3. Instead, they're just going to have Misha staying on the point to make sure that the Diesel progress, the beacon progress does stop, thanks to Diesel. Toasty taking a lot of damage as well as Helio. Pharos going in. Will he be able to get the finish off? The shield does come through from Helio, but at the cost of Toasty, who will end up going down. Nice heads up play there from Plug Walk. Gonna give them a nice advantage once their members do come back. Allowing for them potentially to be able to get some progress starting on the beacons. But both teams going to be rotating back up in order for a potential fight on this top beacon. Periloot does not look like they're going to take the fight. Instead, going to rotate back down in order to contest that bot beacon. No, it looks like both teams thinking the same thing, sending some members to both sides. But it looks like Plug Walk going to commit to the spot one, where it is just Carthen here. The Infinite Lightning does go out, will end up getting the kill onto the Imperious. So now it's just 3 members up for Periloot. Very perilous position for them to be in right now. As Plug Walk gonna rotate up for the beacon, not quite be thinking of boss yet. With it now being Argo Booster positioned to be able to contest this bot one. As now boss call gonna go out for Plug Walk. Just Imperious down for now. Could potentially look for a big play here from either Argo Booster or Toasty. They do have the boss CC potential with their ultimates. As boss going to be picked up here. A nice slide as Argo Booster ends up TPing in. Void Prism ends up going down, but Misha ends up staying on the point, allow for them to get the boss. Argo Booster was able to narrowly escape that fight though. Was a very nice Void Prism, but did not find enough members. Just being off point a little bit as the damage on the Argo Booster forced him to get off the point. So the beacon progress yet again going to be taking up here for Plug Walk. Meanwhile, the members of Periloot going to be back in order to try to defend this keep against the boss. While members of Plugwalk now rotating up to respond. Grumpy does not have Mosh Pit up. Looking yet again to go on to Argo Booster. He was kind of cut out a little bit. The Ring of Frost does not connect. A lot of damage ends up going on to 2Js, who ends up going down. Misha in some trouble. Will end up going down as well. And so Plugwalk will be forced to back up. Also, they do have 2 catapults on their core that I think will be able to break the shields, but maybe not anymore. 1% damage, not that much. Zerg does get finished off here, as well as the Bruiser camp going to be started, but Argo Booster does see this now that the Zerg have been taken. A lot of damage coming out from Argo Booster and Toasty, and so Periloot's going to be able to cap this camp. And now with the help of that camp, going to be able to defend against this top Zerg wave. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, oh wow! Oh, he went down with the Zerg! Argo Booster, that's a huge mistake there. And so, Plugwalk going to loop around with their siege cape here. Going to look for the kill on the Carthan in order to go onto the core. The grenade does end up going down. Angelic Armament's going to help keep him up for a little bit, as well as Helios shield. As Pharaoh's now kind of caught out a little bit by Swill. As Grumpy taking a lot of damage from Toasty. Able to get the heal in time, but will still end up going down. Now Pharaoh's in a lot of trouble. Bloom desperately trying to keep his teammates alive, but he himself will end up going down. The core's at 10%. Rexar with the feigned death up will end up going down. And 10% will be where the core will stay with the Zerg already down. And so now Periloot with just Pharaoh's up, maybe looking for a core play themselves, even though they are down to Argo Booster. No, it looks like they're hesitant to go for the core though. Swill maybe making the call, but looks like they are just going to be going for the camps potentially. No, they are going to make the core call. They're wavering. It looks like it will be. Instead, they're not going to go for the core, even though I definitely think they could. I guess their only hesitation here is Toasty wasn't with the team, and so they didn't really have the siege damage with these 3 heroes, and the late Toasty meant that they didn't think they had the damage in time. Maybe with the siege camp, they're going to be positioned a little bit more aggressively. As instead, they're going to look to push with the Bruiser camp, I believe, to put some damage onto the spot keep, which already has its gate down. So Plugwalk can breathe a sigh of relief, and with 10%, that does open the back door up from Plugwalk. But for now, they will be on the defense. So this game goes up to 28 minutes. These teams not willing to say die quite yet. I would say though this favors Periloot with the damage output. Oh no, Argo Booster has to be careful, is not quite yet caught out. But Toasty and Argo Booster's damage post 20 is huge. The fear only really finds Misha as, oh, Argo Booster able to stop the slide in, but once it goes down, the Mosh Pit only able to really find Helio and ends up getting immediately interrupted. Pharaohs ends up taking a lot of damage, but will be able to escape for now, as the Ring of Frost ends up locking up Swill with the upgrade. But the core is already down to 50%, taking a lot of damage from the catapult in the top lane. And so Periloot's going to move on to the core, and with it already down to 10%, they will be able to take this game in the match. Oh, Plugwalk's going to be kicking themselves with the cores down to 10% like that. You always start to run now the what ifs. What if maybe we got the kill on Imperius, or didn't maybe chase him as much and immediately started putting the damage on the core. They're going to be kicking themselves, but Periloot will be able to take out this series win. Fantastic game played by both of them. But Periloot able to come away with the domination victory yet again, with a very strong start to their season, getting 3 wins now, including 2 dominations. But now that we look to the stats here, kills 18 to 16 barely in favor of Periloot. Toasty with 140k hero damage and 260 siege damage, outpacing Pharaohs on the Cassie with 124,000. Meanwhile, again, the healing number is very close, but Bloom Mitsuka barely edging out Helio, 108,000, 106,000. Main tank, or tanking damage in favor of Grumpy, 148 to 111,000. And then the XP, again, extremely close, but Rexar with Diesel barely edging out Toasty by about 200. as I stay on the town screen, I'm going to try to see if I can get a member there of Periloot for an interview in order to talk to them about the last match. But overall, very close game. Crucially, they picked the late game comp on Periloot. We're able to get to the late game. Argo Booster giving a lot of trouble from Grumpy, who went Zerg hunting, basically. Looking for the kill onto Zeratul. Or, actually, excuse me, Zeratul, not a Zerg. Going Zeratul hunting, though. Kind of forcing it to make sure he couldn't make too much of an impact, but definitely the slack kind of picked up by Toasty, who didn't have as much focus on him, and was able to successfully get the win in the end. Looks like it's gonna be Swill, who was the main tank player of Periloot. This time around, who will be coming in for the interview. Actually, it's gonna be Toasty instead. Hello, Toasty.
Hello.
First of all, congrats on your win today.
Thank you. It was certainly something.
Oh yes, especially there at the end. Came very close, but you guys were able to barely edge it out.
Honestly, if you try to close the game on us, that's just when we're strongest. We're just going to turn it around on you.
Well, to be fair, you guys definitely had the late game comp.
Yeah.
And once you got, especially once you get Zeratul Gul'dan online, very scary damage output. But anyways, going back to game number 1, Uncursed Hollow, picked by you guys, you went to kind of I would say a favorite comp on Cursed Hollow with the Hanzo plus Junkrat. Why do you guys like that DPS combo on Cursed Hollow?
So Junkrat I like Junkrat because he just offers so much on that map with his it's not semi, I guess it's semi-global mine where you can really quickly rotate between the lanes, and you can also poke people off the curses, and he's got lots of AoE to do damage for. And we like Hanzo for Scatter Arrow. It's just a great scatter map. We were definitely thinking that those two have a little bit of overlap in their poke, and maybe we wanted some more burst, but it ended up working.
And then early on in the game, you guys were able to get a very aggressive invade that worked out for you guys. Was that strategy coming into the game, or was it just more spur of the moment?
Yeah, we just saw the opportunity. We felt strong. We felt like we knew where they were, so we decided to go take advantage.
Meanwhile, moving on, you guys were able to get the first curse, and off that, get a very nice early structure advantage that you guys didn't really look back from. What do you think was the main component in you guys being able to stay in the lead that entire first game?
There's actually a call during that first curse where it's like, let's not get greedy and try to go for a keep. Let's make sure we're getting the soak everywhere, because you can really quickly get behind on a curse if you miss out on, like 9 waves or something if you're just pushing one lane. So we made sure to get the experience in every lane there to get more ahead while we were ahead instead of possibly fall behind. So if we go for that keep there and don't get it, that can actually be pretty rough on the first curse.
Definitely, and I mean, I guess it provides a window of opportunity for your opponents to come back when you're already in the driver's seat, right?
Yeah, and we weren't gonna end the game on that. We were looking for more of a ending the game on our second curse. So,
well, you guys were definitely able to get that curse. Go on to close out that game. Meanwhile, then we came to Braxis for game number 2. Now, first of all, I have to ask you, Braxis, not a very commonly picked, actually very maligned map in NGS.
That is a reason we picked it.
Is it just like, is it just to catch people off guard? Or like, why do you guys love Braxis so much?
It plays to our strengths while also being a map that other people hate. So, like, we don't love the map, but I think everyone else likes it a lot less. So that means it's good for us.
Now, one thing that matters a lot more on Braxis is the solo laner. So I want to kind of highlight your solo laner, Carthan, who's did a lot of work on the Imperius today. Why do you guys choose Imperius maybe over some other solo laners?
That's currently his favorite, most well-rounded. Like, he feels like if he picks Imperius, he's usually got a chance against most people we throw at him. He's got a lot of other picks, of course, but I think it's just his favored one right now. But you can see that against Rexar, didn't go great.
Meanwhile,
we were asking him, like, "Oh, is there anything we need to ban?" He's like, "Nah, anything's fine. I'll take it." And then Rexar was trouble. So
yeah, that was my next question. You saw Rexar on the other side. How do you adapt to playing against a Rexar on Braxis?
tried to do was with the Zeratul pick. Tried to go up, blink over the walls and just quickly assassinate the Rexar and just ignore Misha. But I didn't see it happen, but I don't think we quite landed the spears that we needed to follow up on those kills. I think it could have happened, but we didn't make it happen.
Well, you guys were lost out on the first beacon, or phase. Was there any change of strategy when the second one came up in order to try to turn that one around?
Yeah, so we knew we had a bit of a weaker early game, and with how poorly top lane was going, we kind of decided let's try to take just full-on fights. Let's try to engage post 10. A lot of times we brought Carthan down from top lane and just let Rexar do his thing because that wasn't working out. And those 4v5s or sometimes 5v5s, they went decent. They started to go pretty well. That's where we picked up some speed.
I want to talk about those 4v5s. Generally, what's the key when you're looking to rotate down and maybe catch the other team off guard in the other lane?
Key? Most of it was just them stepping on the point, it felt like, and we just had a good counter engage, not letting ETC get anything amazing off.
Speaking of ETC, Grumpy definitely was it seemed like a bone to pick with Arco Booster, kind of seeking out the Zeratul.
Oh yeah,
maybe
there was that one pick at the very end that was like brutal.
How do you make an adjustment as like an assassin counterpart to Zeratul to maybe make up for the lost damage when your Zeratul's getting focused down so much?
Oh, yeah, that was quite rough. I really liked that fight where I think it was just me and Johanna, and they tried to take our bruisers. We somehow ended up with a really good fight. It's really just landing a great Horrify into all of Gul'dan's AoE. If you let Gul'dan do his work, then he can do enough damage for everyone. You don't even need that Zeratul. So that was kind of the idea. If we don't have Zeratul, is to take it a little slowly, let Gul'dan really hit hard. But it's also hard to finish off kills without your Zeratul.
And then coming down to the end of the game, we saw Plugwalk make the core call while I believe it was the Zerg was marching down the top lane. And kind of, it looked like, did it catch you guys off guard when they came through the bot lane?
Not off guard. We just didn't have enough resources to stop everything. We were like putting out all the fires that we could, doing the best we can, and we barely scraped together a defense, like really barely.
Meanwhile, what's the call then when you see that your core is still standing after a very close defense? What was
Our
the
gut
call?
reaction was to go win the game, but then we started walking across the map and we're like, oh my god, this map is long. So we just decided to take the camps to get the pressure off of us, because if we didn't take those camps, eventually the core pressure would just get us anyway. So took the mercs, and I think we played with those to the end. Just pushed them right in and won.
Yep, you guys were able to compound those mercs, as you said, into the victory. So my last question is, any shoutouts you have?
Always shouting out Periloot. Our good friend Swill is starting his own little company making keyboards and mice accessories and stuff. So periloot.com, coming soon.
Great. Thanks so much for coming on, Toasty. And congrats, and again, good luck with the rest of your NGS season.
Thanks for casting us.
No problem. Have a good night. Meanwhile, that will do it for me. Hope you enjoyed tonight's cast. It was definitely exciting, especially that second game that came down to the wire there. But hope you'll tune in tomorrow. I don't think I have anything on the calendar yet, but I definitely will be up and running, just looking to fill in the holes. As there's so much action going on tomorrow in NGS. Thursday is the big match playing day. Looking to Div C West specifically, we will have Plug Walk coming back immediately tomorrow with an 8 p.m. Central Time against Lurk Patrol. Meanwhile, Periloot also back in action tomorrow at 9:30 Central against Almost Legends Obsidian. So look out for those two teams specifically. Meanwhile, that will be it for me tonight. Hopefully you tune in tomorrow for any future casts. It was definitely a pleasure tonight. So with that, I will be turning it over to one of our newest casters this series, or excuse me, this season, Eric with Not a C, who is casting a Div C East game, I believe. Diaper Vision versus Boogan Squad. So hopefully you can catch the end of that game or any of our other NGS matches tonight. But anyways, that will do it for me. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Good luck, have fun, and I will see you in the Nexus.